Welcome to another edition of the HHC Sports Weekly. I'm Justin Soakland. This week, the girls basketball state tournament draw came out on Sunday, and we'll look at the pairings for the different sectionals involved in the HHC teams. We have an interview with Jeffersonville radio legend Ted Throckmorton, who's been in the business for over 50 years. We'll look at the boys basketball as it winds down toward crowning a champion with New Albany on the verge of that. We'll also look at the HHC boys swimming meet and the IHSA state tournament in wrestling is underway, and several teams and individuals are advancing through that series. So let's get started with all those highlights. The IHSAA conducted the girls basketball sectional draw on Sunday afternoon, and here are the pairings for the 8 league teams. In the Class 4A sectional at Jeffersonville on Tuesday, February the 10th at 6 p.m., number 1 B&L, which is 20-0, will face New Albany, which is 13-8. In the second game, Jeffersonville, which is 11-10, will face Jennings County, which is 15-5. On Friday, in the first semifinal, the New Albany B&L winner will face Seymour, which is 17-5. And in the second semifinal, the Jeffersonville Jennings County winner will meet Floyd Central, which is 8-13. The championship game is set for Saturday, February the 14th. In the Class 4A tournament at Shelbyville, on Friday the 13th at 7:30 in the second semifinal, Columbus East, which drew a bye, will face the Bloomington North, Bloomington South winner. And in the Class 3A tournament at Scottsburg on Tuesday, February the 10th in the second game at 7:30, Madison, which is 15-7, will face Charlestown, one of the sectional powers in that tournament, which is 17-3. Ted Throckmorton has been behind the microphone for over 50 years, broadcasting thousands of games. He has witnessed a lot of Jeffersonville history as well as documented the former stars of the Hoosier Hills Conference. Here's more with Ted.
We are here with Ted Throckmorton, a radio broadcaster, the voice of the Red Devils for 53 years, has seen countless games and a lot of great memories with high school basketball in the Hoosier Hills Conference. Ted, you've been doing basketball so long and seen so many great things come through Jeffersonville and through the league. What's some of your favorite memories of high school basketball?
Well, one of my main favorite memories was sitting beside Charlie Jenkins for 35 years. Charlie's not broadcasting now, but that's where I really learned a lot and enjoyed it. Of course, I saw New Albany win their state championship in '73. Jeff win theirs in '93. Scott Skiles will his team at Plymouth to win one. And of course, Damon Bailey when he won his for Bedford. It's just a great hobby. It keeps me young and it keeps me active. And of course, as I've always said, if they paid me, they'd have fired me a long, long time ago. It's a lot of fun. Gene Coomer and I, we've been together. Of course, we've got Greg Bell now doing the ball games as our primary announcer. He's great. He came to Jeffersonville from Kokomo after about 28 years up there. So we're very fortunate to have Greg, and it's a great hobby. I love it.
You mentioned some of the state championship teams that you've had the pleasure of watching. What are some of the things that stood out about those teams? In New Albany, a great run in '73, and also in 1980, I believe, had a great run at a state final. Jeffersonville in '93 with Mike Broughton as the coach. You know, Damon Bailey at Bedford North Lawrence. A lot of things that you can look back on and of great teams.
Well, another thing too that I'm very pleased to be a part of. If you'll recall, Mike Flynn, he fouled out in the sectional final against Floyd Central, but we put a little committee together and worked it, and Mike Flynn became Mr. Basketball. And I didn't have a lot to do with it, but there was a good committee. Remember, Turkovich was the primary star that year, but we put these flyers out, we mailed them all over the state, and when the guys didn't know who to vote for, they thought, well, Mike Flynn. Not that Mike didn't have the talent. He had the talent, but I think our little effort was a good portion of it.
How did you let an Indiana kid like Mike Flynn from Jeffersonville get away to Kentucky then?
Well, we talked about that driving up here, as a matter of fact. Ray Mears, the Tennessee coach, was really recruiting Mike, but we had a committee, and then we went to dinner one evening with Kaywood Ledford, Gene Coomer and I, and Keith Grope. And Kaywood stood up at the dining room at the Marriott. I never will forget it. He pounded on the table, said, "Mike, you've got to side with Kentucky." 2 days later, that's where he signed. And then after Mike signed, here comes Jimmy Dan Connor, Kevin Greavy, Locke Mueller, Jerry Hale, and the whole bit. But Mike was the key to that recruiting year for Kentucky.
You know, we could mention the Super Hicks and Floyd Central, and then Pat Graham and Mr. Basketball. We're talking about the glory days of the Hoosier Hills Conference, especially from the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s. That run, have you ever seen anything like that run that the league had in those years?
No. And you know, a lot of people talk about class basketball. Of course, if I had a choice, maybe I would want it to stay as it was. But being able to go around to the different gyms and see them packed for a Class A game or a B class or whatever, it's still good Hoosier basketball. And when you get inside those tournament gyms, you see a lot of good effort and a lot of good fans.
In boys basketball, New Albany, ranked number 6 in the latest poll, is closing in on the HHC title. The Bulldogs have won 8 straight games to improve to 15-2. New Albany, Floyd Central, which is 10-4, and Madison, which is 9-5, are currently the only teams with winning records in the conference. But another hot league team of late is BNL, which has won 5 of 6 to erase some of its terrible 2-11 start. Here's more on BNL's win over Jeffersonville last week. Bedford North Lawrence ended Jeffersonville's 2-game winning streak on Friday night, roaring to a 72-49 victory. Braxton Day had 24 points for the Stars, including 15 points in the third quarter, and Blaze Byer added 19 as BNL won for the 4th time in the last 5 games. Chad Hudson had 15 points for the Red Devils, while Ronnie Todd added 10. Jeffersonville fell to 4-10, while BNL improved to 6-12, including 3-2 in the Hoosier Hills Conference. You have to be pretty pleased with that effort tonight.
I'm very happy. I thought, a great team win. I really loved our energy on the defensive end. I loved how we attacked on the offensive end. We just didn't settle for jump shots. And overall, I think it was a very good ball game for us.
Braxton Day came out on fire in the third quarter.
He's needed it. They're right around Christmas time. He was kind of struggling, and I knew it's right in him. He's been shooting the ball really well in practice, and he was taking great shots today, and and just taking the ball really strong, which he does every game. And I'm really pleased to see him get going. I hope that really catapults him to the rest of the year.
You come out on fire, and that changed things. What about what was working tonight that you got open?
Just some of those nights you're feeling it, and tonight was one of those nights I was just feeling it.
From the same place on the floor, it looked like, too.
Yeah, me and Dad been shooting a lot after on our own time, and they paid off tonight.
What was wrong tonight?
They just wanted it more than us. Simple as that. They took it to us, and that was that.
Your offense kind of struggled early, but then your defenses, I thought, was what got away from you in the third quarter, especially with Day.
Like I said, they wanted it more. We wanted to play, they were, and that was the outcome.
Floyd Central won the HHC boys swimming meet, claiming the final event to beat Jeffersonville and win the league title for the first time since 1998. Floyd Central's Eli Anderson, Mark McCormick, and Guyan Noble all won 2 events. McCormick set a meet record in the 500-yard freestyle. Jeffersonville's Evan Shive also won twice and set a meet record in the 100-yard butterfly. In wrestling, New Albany won the team title in the sectional in Jeffersonville, taking the overall crown for the first time since 1996. The top 4 finishers in each weight class advanced to the regionals this week. This week, the key games in boys basketball include Bedford North Lawrence, which is 7-12, at Floyd Central, which is 10-4, on Friday night, and the same night, number 1 Evansville Reich, which is 19-0, and on the course to set a state record in scoring and winning margin, will be at Jeffersonville, which is 5-10. But the big game in the conference is on Saturday when Jennings County, which is 8-8, visits number 6 New Albany at 15-2. The Bulldogs can clinch the outright league title with a victory. In girls basketball, the key game is Thursday when Seymour, which is 17-5, visits BNL at 20-0. The Owls could claim a share of the HHC title with an upset of the number 1 Stars, who have already won 4 straight league titles and have a long HHC winning streak. In other sports, on Saturday, girls swimming sectionals at Floyd Central, which will include 6 league teams, Columbus North, where Columbus East will be, and Jasper, where BNL competes, are on tap. Event winners will advance to the state finals on February 13 and 14 in Indianapolis. And also on Saturday, the wrestling regionals at Jeffersonville and Bloomington South are on stage. The top 4 individuals in each weight class will advance to the semi-state at Evansville on February 21st. That concludes another episode of the HHC Sports Weekly. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter as we continue to track all the league teams and individuals, especially now that the postseason is underway in several sports. Until then, thanks for watching.